So today we're going to be doing the tango music. And the composer who comes to mind most is Piazzolla. So he writes all of that really lush, gorgeous tango style music. So some things that come to mind for me are tango dance in the bandoneon, which is similar to the accordion. So if you just could very quickly in the chat, I want you to just put one word that you think describes tango music. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to play my piece, Tango Azul. So that's the handout that I gave you. So just write into the chat one word that you think describes tango music. All right, thank you. So that's Tango Azul. I have a piece called Under a Flamenco Sky. So it used to be a single. I still have it as a digital download, but now it became one of the pieces on my album. So this is Central Star. I don't know if you all are aware that I have this book full of advanced music for my album that's in that sort of level. Okay, so I'm looking forward to reading these descriptions. Let's see here, lots of things. Wow, look at all these great words. Okay. Passion. Yes, very passionate. Sexy. Yes. Sultry. Abandon. Syncopated. Romantic. Contemplative. Depth. Slinky. Amazing. Right? So it has kind of this whole world that we imagine when we think of tango. And part of it is from this one really cool thing to know about is just going from the 5 to the 6. Just that little half step in there gives it that real like, sort of yearning type of sound. So this is in B minor. So there's your 1, the 5 is the F sharp, and then there's your 6. So it gives that kind of like a cry out type of yearning sound. So if you can get out your tango sounds handout, and we're going to go to the left hand part of it. So we're going to start with the left hand. So the first thing I want you to do is to memorize this little pattern. So if you think in B minor, so it starts on the tonic, and it does it twice. And then you go to the E, same thing. And then 1 G, 1 A, and back to B. So you can read it. It'll be very quick to read, or I highly recommend that you memorize it as soon as you can. So if you think 2 B's, and you're going to this F sharp G, and then 2 E's, and then 1 G, 1 A, 2 B's. All right, so just try that out for about 30 seconds and see if you can memorize it. If not, then just keep your little score up there. But it's great for your eyes to be able to be free to look at the keys. And sometimes it's too easy to read the music. So we want to use our brain and be really engaged with what we're doing. So play through it quickly and see if you can memorize it. Okay, give a thumbs up if you feel like you memorized it. All right, nice work. Okay, and if not, completely fine. Don't worry about it. But that's something you can work on throughout the week. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do with it is to embellish your left hand. So, maybe, as I said, as it's written is plenty for you. So that'd be phase 1. If you're ready for phase 2, just try to noodle around the notes and just stay in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So sorry, I did too many B's at the very first one. So you want to have those 2 B's. So just start like it does, but then noodle around. And see if you can feel 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's lots of different options on how you do it. So it's the same bass. And then you just want to see if you can make some nice new patterns that are very similar to those, but embellished a little bit. So a great trick is when you're in the G or the E, just to do the 1, 5, 1. And then 1, 5, 1, 1. So always going to the 5th is a nice way to fill it in between if you want. Any questions on that? So you're just trying to vary it a little bit, keeping it in 4 beats. And you're just staying within B minor. So, you have your C sharp and your F sharp. So those are the notes that you can even just play with the 3rd finger. Those are your bag of notes, like as if you had a bag and somebody threw some tones in there. Those are the ones that you are dealing with. So you want those to kind of light up for you at the piano, and you're ignoring all the other ones and just start playing around with them and see if you can feel 4 beats. So try that out and we'll meet back in a few seconds. Okay, thumbs up if you're able to do that. Letitia, yes, and yes. Natalia, good. Valerie got it. So it might depend on your comfort level with improvisation. So you can always start really simply, like maybe you just added some more rhythmic notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So using the same notes, but just trying to vary the rhythm a little bit. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is let's do the B minor 5-finger pattern. And so you have B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. So that one's written at the top of the page. And then play it just with your 3rd finger. Okay, so those are those lit up notes like we were talking about. And then I want you to put your pedal down. Can you play in any register, but only do one of those 5 tones? All right, so put down your pedal, use your 3rd finger, and play B, C sharp, D, E, or F sharp, but all over different registers of the piano. It's really good for the brain to be able to do that. So it's so easy to stay right here. Sure, we can all do that right away. But can you mix them all over the place? You do it quickly. Great exercise for the brain and just for seeing the whole piano. Okay, so then I want you to take any of those 5 tones and you're just going to play a whole note with your bass line. So you can stick with your really simple, the one that's written out. You can even read it if you need to. So it depends where you are with your studies. So maybe you're able to embellish the left hand, but if not, just keep the left hand as it's written. And then just play whole notes in your right hand off of that B minor 5-finger pattern. And you can stay just in that little spot, but I think it's more of a challenge to use your 3rd finger and try different places. You're just picking any tone. So play that left hand pattern and then add just a whole note. So it's with the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change notes. 1, 2, 3. Any questions about that? So just playing a whole note in your right hand using B minor 5-finger pattern. And it's interesting how some of the notes, like if you're in B minor, you think of a B minor chord, B, D, F sharp.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me at all? Can you give a thumbs up if you can hear me? Oh, good. Okay. So you can think of a chord tone. So B, D, F sharp are the notes of B minor. So you can do one of those. Right? Those are very consonant, but the other ones also sound really nice. And then maybe resolve it. So you can play around with that. So thinking something outside of the chord and then resolve it. a chord tone. So that's sort of next level thinking. So you can try any of the tones, or you can really think, all right, I'm going to try and be an E minor. And then maybe outside of the E minor chord. So you can think in the chord or outside of it and then resolving. All right, so the next one we're going to do is half notes. And then you can see the B minor, the full scale. And again, this just depends on your level. Maybe you want to stick just with the first five notes when you're improvising, or maybe you're an advanced improviser and you want to think of that whole scale. So up to you, but it has just the C sharp and the F sharp. You can think of the whole scale or just 5 notes. And now just think half notes. 1, 2, 3, or any note. All right, so either five notes there or the whole scale, and just come up with some half note melodies. And then the next one we'll do is the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can stay on one note if it's hard. Just using B minor tones, playing quarter notes everywhere. And feel free to repeat notes if it's tricky. And then sort of the next level of that is, can you do your embellished left hands? That's pretty advanced, and it's really amazing what we're able to do as pianists. That's pretty complex there, to be able to improvise those embellished left hand patterns while also sticking to a rhythm in the right hand. But that gives you lots of things to play around with. And then the final thing is, and again, really depends on your level, but maybe you just want to do any type of rhythm and the whole B minor. And that's kind of the most advanced. Okay, so just take a moment and do any of those that feel appropriate for you. So maybe you're doing the left hand exactly as written and you're just adding some whole notes in there. Completely fine. Or maybe you're Letitia and you're doing the super embellished left hand and making really cool melodies because she's been improvising for a while and is really comfortable with it. So just take a minute or so and do whichever one feels correct for you. So I just did a quick fun thing I can show you. So remember yesterday when we were doing some of those guitar type of strums? You can do some of those in here. So you can do that whole note type of thing, but start it with just a little strum. I'm just doing E, D, C sharp, B. Or you could do D, C sharp, B. Just kind of a fun thing to play around with. All right, how was that for everybody? Good? Any questions? So I hope I gave you a very clear way that you could approach it either for yourself or for your students, where really as long as they can, do some of those little jumps or know those little 5-finger patterns, they should be able to handle it. And then I hope I gave you some ideas all the way up to the advanced level. So thank you so much for joining. So I just want to quickly tell you some other ways. Yeah.
I had a question. Those strums, can they go up as well as down?
I don't see them as much. What do you think, Letitia? I would say like they generally tend to go down in my opinion. Like sometimes the melody notes would be like, those type of da-da-dum. But as far as like a grace note,
I was playing around with that kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then the melody can come down
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah, I think it works either way. Just kind of experiment and see if you like that sound.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it works. Might be a little more common to go down, but I think really it could go either way.
Would you focus on working on your left-hand rhythms first, more so than your right? Or
Yes, because you want to have that really strong foundation in there. And then off of that foundation, that's where you can start creating melodies over it. So if you're not quite sure of your left hand rhythmic foundation, then it'll feel kind of off. Like something's not quite fitting in there. And so you want to be able to just do that nice counting, maybe even put on a little metronome and just focus on that left hand. Because that's one of the hardest parts of improvising, I think, is being able to keep track of what beat you're on, because you're just creating it on the spot. So it's easy to just kind of hear the sounds, but if you can organize it, it's very relaxing and feels logical in the brain. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay. So if you want to learn any more on any types of these improvisation things, there is the Facebook group, Piano Flow Facebook group. And I need to be more committed to putting more content in there, but it is a place where at least I put all the free trainings and anything important that pops up goes into there. And then I have a YouTube channel and Instagram. So those are nice, just free ways of following me. They're all Little Gems for Piano is the Instagram name and the YouTube channel. And then if you ever want to study more in depth with me, I have the Piano Flow online intensive, which is a small personalized approach to learning free-flowing improvisation. And we also work on having a positive mindset. We work on meditation, yoga for musicians, reading about creativity and performance anxiety. So it's a very holistic, immersive experience. And then this summer, we're going to work on tango and flamenco music like we were doing the last couple of days, in addition to free-flowing improvisation styles. And I create all of the content myself. So I compose all of the exercises and curriculum. And we have some amazing guest instructors lined up. There's one that's talking about the flow state. So that's when you're just really in the zone. So there's ways of trying to get into that flow state. And then there's a jazz pianist, Debbie Porries, who's amazing. She's always, this is her third time guest instructing there. And then there's an energy worker that's going to work with us on performance anxiety. And then there's also a yoga for musicians teacher, Leslie McAllister. That's her whole specialty. So she's amazing. So lots of guest instructors. And then it's made up of adult amateur pianists and also piano teachers and sometimes teenagers in the summertime. So it's just people that are really looking to transform their playing in a way that gets them improvising and creative at the piano. So it's for people who are really warm and open-minded, willing to try new things. And it's not just like a small, simple class. It's this big, well-rounded experience. And it can have some big transformations. Like there's one student, Selena, who just joined in January, and she had not improvised. And within a few months, she did an audition for the Berklee School of Music. And for her audition, she decided to just improvise for 5 minutes. And that was her whole audition, which was just incredible because she learned that in a few months. And she got into the program, and she said it felt so like the pressure was off of her. Instead of learning like a big Beethoven piece, she was able to just go in and improvise for 5 minutes. So it can have some big transformations if you feel committed to it. So anyway, we're starting June 1st, and it's every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10:30 to 11:30, and it goes all the way to July 7th. There's 12 sessions, and it's a bit of a commitment in time and finances. So it's only for people who feel really committed to that whole experience. But I do offer sliding scale and payment plans for piano teachers who would love to do it, but feel like just the finances are the thing holding them back. So feel free to reach out at any point and talk to me about it. So I do the summer program, and then I also will do another longer one in the fall that's 6 to 8 months long. So yeah, reach out anytime. You can write in the chat or send me an email, pauladryer@gmail.com, or feel free to tell friends or students about it if you know anyone that you think could benefit from that. And I hope everybody really enjoyed the last couple of days, and I'll send out the recording and the handouts. I think you all have everything, but please keep in touch. I always love hearing from you, and I offer these free trainings every few months, so this will not be the last one. And it was such a joy to be able to see all of you again. There's so many familiar faces at this point. So I just want to thank you so much for spending some of your Friday with me on my daughter's birthday. So thank you. Any questions from anybody? No? All right, feel free to get off mute if you want to say a goodbye. It always feels so strange when it's so quiet.
Goodbye. It's been a lot of fun.
Bye. Have a
Bye,
beautiful
thank you so
weekend.
much. Yeah.
You're so welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
You have your
Bye, Lydia.